Are you a sex worker looking to build a new website or a website redesign? Then you'll want to consider Fox Digital. They did a fantastic job designing my website, Stripped by Sia. If you want your website done, mention that you're a listener of the show at foxdigital.design for 20% off. Tell them I sent ya. Hey everyone, just popping in here to give you all a bit of a trigger warning. In this episode, we do have a mention of suicide. So if this is something that triggers you, please feel free to skip ahead or skip this episode completely. If we're talking about mental health, a really important topic, but that's pretty much it. Happy Easter, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Stripped by Sia, your podcast for strippers, sex workers, and all the fancy naked people in between. I am your host, Steph Sia, aka Kimchi on stage. You could probably catch me on stage right about now. I will be dancing for a number of weeks before I get married, so please drop all the dollar bills and just know that your money is going towards my wedding. Or if you wanted to come chat with me about the show or whatever it is, that would be really cool. So yes, I am a stripper. I'm also a digital content creator. I was a former sugar baby for a number of years, and that's kind of how I got started in the sex industry. And now I've been running this show for almost 4 years now. I bring on a different guest every single week from a different corner of the adult industry, whether they're on-camera talent, maybe they're people behind the scenes, people like specializing in very specific niches, nonprofit organizations, and the like. There's like a lot of different folks that are on the show, but I do that to really illustrate and provide a transparent approach to sex work so people can actually understand what it is that we do with all the folks with like lived experience and whatnot. So that's just a little bit about me, especially for just joining the show and listening in for the first time. Quickly, I just want to go ahead and say hello to some of my Patreon folks. So just want to say a quick shout out to those who are on the second and top tiers. You all get a fancy little fan recognition shout outs here at the top of the show. So just wanted to say hello to the new subscribers. We got Guy, or Guy, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but welcome. Thank you so much for supporting. We've got Snoo, we've got Arup Sarkar, we've got Jay Suncern, Justin Erickson, we've got Ted McGuire, Marty Lang, and Trey Lanty. Folks from Canada, US, we got people from Europe as well too. So thank you so much for your support. Know that all of your dollars are going towards helping the website run is one thing, helping me fund the trip to XBiz, which is coming up in May, which is also very exciting, and I can just be a sponge and just learn all the things because it's really it's my first time going to the event, so I am just going to go there with an open mind, try to learn as much as I can, and just soak it all in, and just know that your dollars are going there. If you want to find out more, it is patreon.com/strippedbysia, and you can find out the different subscription tiers there. Also, just a quick shout out to Skyhawk After Dark TV. This is an adult network that hosts a lot of video casts as well as other related adult industry podcasts, including some of the guests I've had on the show. They also have their own shows. Everyone has a podcast nowadays. If you like this kind of similar content, you're welcome to go give them a look over there, find out some other things that you might be able to learn some things. So it's skyhawkafterdarktv.com. And last but not least, I did mention you're helping fund my website. The person who built my website, aka Fox Digital, is also our lovely sponsor for the show. And he's also offering listeners of Stripped by Sia 20% off. So which is a great value. And of course, I've talked about how important it is to have an online presence, again, depending on your own business, but maybe it's that time for you to build your own website. Maybe you already have an existing website, but kind of want to zhuzh it up a little bit. Please reach out to Anthony. Tell him I said, it's Fox Digital leya.design and you get 20% off. So go peep him, go say hello. So, enough of me talking there. I am really excited to bring over today's guest, and it is really early. If you're watching on Patreon, you'll know my voice is raspy. One, because I'm just recovering from a cold, but also it's 7 o'clock. At the time of recording, 7 o'clock my time. And I believe it's 4 o'clock over on her time. And the her that I'm speaking about is the lovely Leya Tanit of Pineapple Support, the CEO and founder of Pineapple Support. And if you're not familiar with Pineapple Support, I know if you're in the industry, you've probably heard of that company here and there, but it is a 24/7 online emotional support and professional therapy services for performances for performers and producers in the adult online industry. And I'm really excited to talk about mental health today, why sex workers definitely need this type of support, and how this specialized service came to be. So I'm really excited to welcome Leya Tanit onto the show. Good afternoon, Leya. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me on the show. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to chatting with you today and navigating this conversation with you. But before we kind of like go into all of the things, maybe you can go ahead and describe to the audience in your own words and terms as well, and how you view yourself and who's Leya, basically.
Leah has become pineapple. Yeah, founder, CEO. Before this, I've been in the adult space for, oh, it's horrible to say, over 20 years.
That's
Not horrible to
amazing.
say, not horrible to say I've been in the adult space for that long, but oh, I'm getting old. It's sad. So yeah, in one facet or another, it's always been a part of my adult life, the adult entertainment industry, and I'm a very proud member of the sex worker community, and very proud to now support it in the way that we do.
Amazing. And big shout out to Corey Silverstein, who was able to connect me with you. And he's like, everyone wants to speak with Leya. I'm like, yes, that's correct. Now connect me, please.
I love Corey.
Who doesn't love Corey? But I'm really stoked to kind of chat about this because mental health, as we know, is so important, and it's really really great that it's finally getting some great airtime in terms of like this is why is there have to be such a stigma and shame around seeking out the support that we need for our insides and our brain and our mental health and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to chat about this because oftentimes we are looking for support in that space, and it might not be as easy as well, at least in my case, personally speaking, it's hard to find a sex worker friendly therapist that can really understand the work that it is we do, and like going into a session and not feeling judged. So it's really important that we have a safe space to do this because, as you know, sex work can be rather isolating at times. So I would love to hear maybe a bit more about yourself first in terms of like your own experience within the adult industry, and then we can kind of go into like how and why you started Pineapple Support.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen in general, my experience in the adult industry has been extremely positive. I began stripping when I was 18 and loved it. I have to say that was the most competitive part of the industry that I've ever been in, and that was very difficult for someone who just went and loved their job and enjoyed what they were doing so much. It was, and it was Dita Von Teese, when she says, you can be the juiciest, most delicious peach in the world, and someone's not going to like peaches.
Yes,
And that's how I would look at working in the strip clubs. It's like, well, if someone doesn't want to dance with me, they're going to want to dance from somebody else. And what are you into? Let's go and find that girl for you. I know what the girls look like here. Let's support each other.
totally.
Um, so, I mean, that's how I felt like it should be. And I said, we're talking over 20 years ago now. But it certainly wasn't like that then. And then, yeah, that kind of moved into, I've dipped out of the industry for a while, and then opened a hardcore BDSM toy shop when the recession hit, because I thought if people weren't going out, then they're staying in.
Yeah,
And they're
very
going,
true.
yeah, and they're going to get adventurous. So, and I've been part of the BDSM community since forever.
Mhm.
So it was super easy. I had really nice contacts. Used to run fetish parties, and then started modeling, and everything was really, really organic. So that kind of just kind of flowed naturally into the modeling, and then into pro dom work, and then recording it and making my own clips, and producing short movies for uh, I'm trying not to shout out any particular companies for online sale. Uh, and tried camming, can't cam. For all of you cammers out there, respect. That is some hard work.
Yes.
Uh, and yeah, so then I took a little break again. I had my brother living with me, so that was quite difficult. And my brother actually came to stay with me because he was suffering really badly from depression and anxiety. And my mum, she didn't really know how to cope with it anymore. And she thought that maybe if he came to live, on a nice little island with sunshine and nature, that it could be a good help. So that's what happened. Took a little break, and then I decided, okay, this is my year. I'm getting back into the industry. I went to the XBiz LA show in January 2018, all ready to get, here I am, sign me. And and then I discovered about all of the suicides in the industry in 2017, 2018, and that was it. The focus then was just how has this happened? How has this happened to a community that has been so loving and caring to me, in my experience, and such a community, so supportive, and to learn that there just was no real infrastructure to support the mental health of the content creators. And as you mentioned before, it is isolating. There is stigma. If you think about the stigma of the job combined with the stigma of mental health,
Yeah.
it's tough. And particularly in the US, with insurance and high cost of any medical care,
Mhm.
it was really scary when I started looking into it, actually. And it was one of those, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? Yada yada. Uh, and that's kind of what happened. January, I decided something needed to be done. February, came up with a concept, and launched in the April.
Wow, that's quick. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, huge, huge, huge for sure. And that's something that we definitely need. And I'm really glad that you were able to identify that there was kind of a gap missing in our community, which is so sad because that was not too long ago. That was like what, 5 years ago now? So and I hadn't heard of many like sex worker specific services before. And I did mention this at the top of the show too, in terms of like, it could be really hard to find a therapist that really truly understands your line of work. And as you mentioned, Leia, along with the stigma and the isolation in our industry, that can be really hard and that can really eat somebody up, especially if you're already having some existing demons inside your head, that can be really difficult to navigate. And I can definitely speak to that for sure. Because like when I first entered the industry as a young sugar baby 10 years ago, not knowing anything about the business, because I didn't treat it as a business before. It wasn't work to me. I didn't view it as such. But because like I just like wasn't able to find other people that were doing similar things that I was doing, because no one was talking about it, because there was all this shame that was hovering around it. And it's just like, okay, like who can I turn to when something goes awry with clients and stuff? And it's really, really hard. And I'm curious to hear, when you were doing your initial research, yeah, what kind of statistics were you able to find before in terms of like, yeah.
Uh, we did a mental health survey when we very first launched, and there weren't. I think we had just over 100 people take part, which I'd actually like to do another one now, and because I think we'd get a lot more people take part, and we know now we have a better idea of what information we'd be looking for now. But there was some scary statistics, and there was some really oh, so heartwarming is the wrong word. But when we looked at, for example, if you look at the stereotypes, so you're going to imagine sexual trauma, drug addiction, the level of education,
Mm-hmm.
and when we compared the statistic, our average to the national average in the US, they were pretty much the same. There was very, very little difference. The adult industry has lower numbers of HIV,
Mm-hmm.
which, as someone who works in the adult industry, we would expect. But for folks who don't, they would assume the opposite. The drug use was pretty much the same. Sexual assault was, I think, about 2% over, which is, it's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this was across 100 and 120 people roughly. So, we'd get a clearer idea if we did this again. But it seemed that in general, it was the numbers we were getting were very close to the national average. What what wasn't close was the number of people who marked that they had considered taking their own lives.
Oh, wow.
That was scary. So if you look at the two next to each other, the fact that people are suffering in the same ways as the general public, and it was something horrific like 80%.
Oh my gosh.
It was scary.
Yeah. Okay.
And you think, why? Why? The only difference between working in the adult industry and being in, I'm going to say mainstream society, not in the adult industry, is
Mm-hmm.
stigma.
Yeah, totally. 100%. Like it's the stigma in terms of like, well, one, it's always been quote unquote taboo to be working in the adult industry. It's also a matter of people not understanding the work and it being based on stereotypes and assumptions. It's also people not viewing our profession as legitimized, and yeah, not really thinking that it's actual work. And it's a lot of layers of that when paired with some intersectionality as well with the LGBTQ community, people of color. There are just so many more layers on top of that that would really contribute to that really high number. But wow, that's really shocking.
Yeah, I mean, again, it could be that the people that were taking part in the survey wanted to take part because they had been struggling.
You're right.
There are all these factors to take into consideration, but it really was a shock, and clarification that what I was putting together was the right thing to be doing, and very, very much needed.
Hmm. Definitely. Um, in terms of pineapple support, so you had started this back in 2017. You got the idea. 2018, I believe, is when you like fully launched. Um, was it hard to build this organization in terms of like finding people and vetting people that would have the correct and specialized training and whatnot to support people in our industry?
That was one of the least difficult parts actually, but I think, that was down to where we were looking. So I was looking within the BDSM community. I was searching online for sex worker positive therapists and then reaching out to them individually and asking if they'd like to be a part of the project. So that part went fairly smoothly. I mean, we have now 350 therapists working with us, but we still don't have enough therapists in every state that specialize in all the different areas. Yes, it was easy to not easy, but it wasn't so difficult to get the first group of therapists on board.
Mm-hmm.
But then to ensure that we have enough therapists to deal with the demand
Mm-hmm.
and they specialize in the correct areas and they're able to treat clients in every single state.
That's the
That's
challenge.
that's the challenge now, yeah.
Right. Yeah. And like that is a really optimistic goal to have and to uphold yourself and the company for that. So amazing. Do you find that it's hard to, or was it difficult maybe to find representation for all of these areas? And I'm sure you're still building upon the services you already have, but yeah, how's that been?
What do you mean representation in all the areas?
Yeah,
As
so
in
well, maybe we should actually go into, like, what kind of areas, Pineapple Support covers. So I know that you cover support for LGBTQ, community, we have trauma, we have HIV, you have support groups. I know you just launched, one for autistic people as well, which is awesome because there's so many people in sex work, especially that suffer from autism. But, representation in terms of, like, are there any other gaps that are missing?
um, we have a really broad group of therapists. We love more BIPOC. We love more trans therapists. We love more non-binary therapists. Um, and yeah, we really do have a wonderful, wonderful group of people working with us. They come from all walks of life and are so kind and open-minded and so positive always about pineapple support clients. It's really lovely whenever we go. If I'm in LA, then I'll say to everyone in LA, or the therapists in LA, if everyone wants to come and meet for coffee, it'd be lovely to see you. And it's always, I love my pineapple support clients. They're the best. They're really focused on improving their well-being. It's they're coming to heal, not just to use up time. So yeah, it's really wonderful hearing. I'm not hearing the stories because obviously it's all confidential, but just hearing how happy people are that they're working with us and providing care to the community.
That's awesome. That's really, really admirable to when you were first starting Pineapple Support and beginning to offer services in these specific buckets, were these identified for the from the research that you found, like these are the areas that really need our support most? So again, just going and repeating these categories again. So the LGBTQ community, trauma, there's a lot of people that suffer from trauma. We've got HIV, and support groups, and of course now the autism group.
Honestly, no. When I went into this, I just my usual all guns blazing and just thought, let's get it done, and then we'll feel our way. That's kind of how I roll.
Love
You
it.
know, I remember, I think it was just it was the BLM movement around that time, and people kept was saying to me, "You don't have enough uh, uh, BIPOC representation on the website. You don't have enough therapists." So they were right. So we tried our best to rectify that as quickly as possible, which was very hard during COVID because no one could get together to take photographs. Um, and with the therapists, again, it's difficult for us because we wait for people to come and apply to work with us. We can't just grab people off the street and go, you fit in the box that we're looking to fill at the moment,
Right.
uh, but just fortunately for us, we now have a really wonderful balanced group, and there's always space for diversity, and there's always space for more of everything.
Yes.
More of everything, please. And but honestly, it's really been a kind of learn as we go experience, and very very grateful to the people that have contacted us and said, could you add more of this, or we need some of that, because that's how we learn. We can only see through our experience. So it's hugely helpful when people want to get involved and want to help us improve.
I love that. That's so amazing to hear. And I mean, as you mentioned earlier in the show too, you had 350 therapists, which is incredible. Incredible. How many did you start off when you first launched?
Oh, I think we had between 5 and 10.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Most of which were my friends working for free because it took. We launched in April. We had our first sponsor in the December, so I was paying for everything.
Oh my gosh.
So
Wow.
there was a few of my friends like, can you just defer payment till we have a sponsor, please? I'm running a little bit low on funding. But yeah, so
Wow.
very very fortunate, very grateful to those friends. Um,
Got to start somewhere though. Let's be real.
exactly.
I mean, when you first launched too, like what was the response like in terms of like, oh my gosh, yes, yes, we need more of this, and when can you get more? We need more support. How did that whole process go for you?
It was fortunately fairly slow. I mean, we had our first client, I think, within a month, and we were having one or two clients a month. Then it kind of crept up to five. But I didn't want, I didn't want, I couldn't afford to have covered more costs than that myself. And then fortunately, it was Pornhub that came on as our first sponsors in the December,
Hmm.
and with that, we got a lot of promotion. And so I think Pornhub came on, and we were having around 30 therapy requests a month after that.
Oh wow.
COVID hit, and then so that was 2019, was around 30, 50 a month. COVID hit and it went up to 100, 120,
Wow.
and now it's around 300 a month.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. That's crazy. I mean, if funny you mentioned COVID. I mean, it's not funny, but like obviously, like really feel during the pandemic, that's when it really came to light that okay, like we really need this support because of course, as we all know, we weren't able to go out anymore. We can't socialize. We can't go to work anymore. And a lot of the times, like work is our like well-being. It's our joy. It's like it's our livelihood. So it's really interesting that yes, there was a huge correlation between that mental health that's all linked together and seeing that huge increase. Was that very overwhelming? Did you have enough therapists at the time? How did that go? That
We actually, it was really, it was it was good that it hit when it did, not any earlier, because we just got to a point where we had enough therapists and enough funding.
Mhm.
I, well, we didn't. We had to have an emergency fundraiser a bit later in the year. So, but the community, the adult industry, as it always does, came together and gave us funds, and we were able to cover the cost of the additional therapy needs. And But and then also we were all stuck in our offices. So what else we were going to do?
Yeah.
There's no distraction. Buckle down and let's get this shit sorted. So
Yeah, you don't really have a choice at that point. So,
no, and I think it also because when we first started, a lot of therapists didn't provide teletherapy. It just wasn't something they were comfortable with. They wanted the clients to come into their office so that we could see a lot more um, body language.
yeah.
And because of COVID and everyone having to provide online care, they realized how easy it was and how much cheaper it was than running an office. So because of that, we ended up being able to onboard a lot more therapists during those 2 years because it was opening people's options.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was definitely a shift for sure. I mean, along with telehealth and a lot of people, starting to work remotely as like a normal quote unquote thing, which is boggles my mind because that should have just been normalized a long time ago, in my opinion.
So
Like, I don't know, maybe that's just like those kind of go hand in hand, I would say too, because maybe it's just a sign of the times in terms of like, well, one, and I don't know, I had a vanilla job before, a civilian job for folks who are listening, where I used to work in an office and do sex work on the side. But I remember like when I was at the office and some folks were able to work from home, I wasn't able to, but like there was even like a shame and a stigma around that. It's like, are you really working at home? Um you know what I mean? And I'm not sure if people have the same attitude when it comes to going to see a doctor or going to see a therapist. Like there was always so much importance on, no, I have to see them in person. Such a weird thing.
I know I kind of feel like I want to see my doctor in person. I know my mum ended up getting stuck here with me in Ibiza because she had problems with her heart. So we ended up living together for 8 months. It was not good. It was not good. I am amazed that we were both
Mm.
living. No one's buried in the swimming pool. It's but uh, yeah, it was close. It was very close on a few occasions. But when she went back to the UK, all of the doctor's appointments were online on video, and it's like, how do they take your pulse?
Yeah.
How do they see your complexion? Because all these things are, I don't know. Yeah, the doctors. Can you have an online gynecological appointment?
Yeah, I think it just depends on like what you're seeking. Like for myself, I mean, knock on wood, I go to the doctor not very often, and usually I'm just like looking to refill prescriptions. So it's just like, okay, telehealth makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, for other things, it was like really difficult. I remember trying to get a doctor's appointment because I had some kind of like ear infection thing during COVID, and like no one wanted to see me, or like no one could see me, and I'm just like, what do I do? Like,
Ear infections are nasty as well.
yeah,
So painful.
people, yeah, exactly. But I mean, going back to your story, the pineapple support too. So let's talk about in terms of like how it works. So it is 100% online only, so telehealth. Are there any specific areas that you service, or is it just available for US based clients and whatnot? Or let's kind of go into like logistics and all that stuff.
So firstly, if you live near a therapist, they can see you in person.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Have
Good
to be
option.
online. That's just if it happens on the off chance, which is usually if you're in LA or Miami or somewhere where we have a lot of therapists. But we have therapists in Canada, North America, Colombia, Australia, the UK, and across Europe.
Oh wow.
They speak on 19 languages between them. And as long as you are in a country where our therapists are licensed to provide care and insured to provide care, then we can support you. And you obviously speak the same languages as the therapist that's available in your area. So yeah, we've got quite a good reach now. There's still some areas where we're struggling, but we're working on it. Um, Areas that we specialize. I forgot half the question there. I'm
Oh,
bringing it back and
no,
bringing
it's
it
all good. It's like the end of your day and the end of the week, and then me
back.
trying to like speak English. Yeah, just in regards to like, okay, like, so yeah, what areas do you service, which is really great, and I'm sure that number is growing as well. In terms of like, say if I was a potential client, is there any specific process that I have to go through, or is it just as easy as going to Pineapple Support online, the website, and then finding a therapist within your country, or how does it all work?
So if you are active in the online adult industry, which is the community which we specifically serve, this
Mhm.
is a lot down to licensing. It's down to where our sponsorships come from and how much money we have. We'd love to help everyone, but you've got to have some parameters, otherwise the money certainly wouldn't last very long. So if you are in the online adult community and you want to get connected with a therapist, you can visit pineapplesupport.org. Then look down our resources list. On our resources, we have one-on-one therapy, we have sexual trauma support, HIV support, we have support groups, webinars, workshops. Select the one that you are interested in. If it is the one-on-one therapy, for example, you'll be taken to a page with 3 forms on there, and that's for North America, South America, and other countries. So there are your 3 forms. Once you've completed that form, we will process it. We're going to ask you for your legal names and copies of ID, links to performer profiles, which I know is absolutely terrifying, but this is a system that's been built for the medical industry. It is we did we did our research. This is the most secure system that we could come across, and we'll also ask you how much you're able to contribute to your therapy. So
Mhm.
this will be the amount that you pay. So be that $10, $2, $50, whatever you're able to contribute. That helps us give more therapy to more people, and it's also quite a big part of therapy to
Yeah.
contribute towards your own mental health and your own journey. So once we have that form, we will get it processed within 3 working days. So you'll have a response from us as to whether or not you've qualified and if we can connect you to a therapist.
Mhm.
We will then connect you to a therapist as soon as we have one available in your area that is able to provide care in the specific areas that you need. So if you've told us you need help with your anxiety and bipolar, then we find you a therapist that specializes in those areas. We get the high risk cases are connected to a therapist from the day you submit your application form. You should be connected with a therapist within a week.
Mhm.
Everyone else, there is a little bit of a waiting list at the moment just because of the extreme number of people that are reaching out for support. But if there's any companies out there that are listening and they want to donate a nice chunk of money, we can get people connected quicker.
Yes,
Just saying.
definitely. Just throwing it out there. Yeah, I mean, that's okay. So many great nuggets there. First of all, like the barrier to entry, I want to speak about that too. And it sounds like it's more like a sliding scale kind of offering in terms of like what you are comfortable paying for, which I think is a really great approach to therapy because I haven't spoke about this in a long time, but it can be really expensive, um, accessing therapy, and that can turn a lot of people off right off the bat if they can't even afford it because they're not just usually it's not just a one-time thing. Like you're going to be going on a consistent basis, so you really got to think about, okay, like is this going to make sense in my plan? And everyone has their own kind of plan in terms of like finances, right? So yeah, like I'd love to speak about too in terms of like why you chose like more of a sliding scale structure. as opposed to just like a regular like amount and whatnot, and how you kind of came to that conclusion.
Um, I mean, there were a number of contributing factors. As I said, originally it was you want to give everything for free, but well, it's just not possible. We would have to be bringing in millions to cover the costs of therapy for that many people. You put a value on things, and that value is generally what you're paying for them. So if you get something for free, you give it no value, and the chances of you turning up for that therapy appointment are a lot lower. So that's why we've asked people to contribute. The reason why we haven't just given a set price is because that we know there are people out there that can't afford anything
Yeah.
and they really, really need help. And we want to be able to give that help for no cost. If you can't afford it, if you really can't afford it, then we're not going to force you to pay. There is the option to pay nothing. And then there are people out there who can afford their therapy. They're more than capable. They just can't find a therapist that will provide the unbiased care to sex workers. So in that instance, and it is still at a discount because some of the therapists that we have working for us, particularly in New York, LA, Miami, those types of areas, the therapists charge upwards of 250, 350 an hour.
Yeah.
And we will not pay a therapist more than 100 an hour. So
Hmm.
they're all offering us a reduced rate. So even folks that come to us that are able to afford a therapist can still pay the full 100, but
Hmm.
it's not a full 250. It's not a full 350 an hour. So they're still receiving a discount and getting care with someone who genuinely really wants to help this community.
Right. And that's so important too. And what I also like about your approach as well, it sounds like you really do take time to try to match an appropriate therapist that can really take care of the needs for the performer or whoever it is that is seeking the therapy. It sounds like a really curated approach to that. And I was wondering, like, with that matching process, has it ever been like challenging for? Yeah, it's like a matching game.
Uh, we generally do quite well. We get really, really nice feedback from people saying, I've been to 10 therapists and they haven't been right for me and came to Pineapple Support. The first one I was connected with was amazing. So when we hear stories like that, it's like, yay! Um, Sometimes people don't gel, and that is completely normal. Getting a therapist is like getting a partner.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be the right one. You have to have a good connection. They have to be I'm with my therapist. I need someone that's going to push me because I'll weasel my way out of talking about something if I don't want to. Whereas other people, that approach just makes them close up. So
Right.
it's if people get connected to a therapist through Pineapple and it's not the right one for them, then they can let us know and we'll find them somebody else. There could be a wait because
Right.
it could be that as I said, there are some states where we only have one or two therapists. Um, but we will always do our best to find the right match. And yeah, I was smiling there because I just had an email earlier today from our therapy facilitator with like, "Leah, we need more therapists." I'm like, "Which states?" And she sent through a list of about 10. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
balls.
I mean, it's great though that people are really wanting and finding the value in sorry, excuse me, in pineapple sport, because it really is truly a valuable service. And I really like love the structure that you have put in place for sex workers and the accessibility that they can obtain, because sometimes that can be really just, it's not a thing sometimes for folks. So it really sounds like you're taking it quite seriously, which you are. I kind of wanted to go back to potentially free services, because I know that pineapple support is often at like a lot of like adult industry events. I know that they were at AVN, and like I think you're going to be at XBiz as well. But at least like those to me are like some other services that you offer in terms of like a free kind of structure as well. Um, What other free kind of ways would you say that Pineapple supports sex workers, if there are any?
All of our other resources are completely free. So we have support groups. We have 5 drop-in support groups that run either weekly or monthly. And that's every Monday. There is a Monday motivation support group. It's for anyone to join.
Amazing.
Wednesday is the BIPOC community. Friday is focused around trauma. We have a once a month support group for Spanish speaking Latin American, and we have a once a month support group for anyone, any men, any males working in the industry as well. They are all completely free. The support groups that we have are different themes that you were talking about earlier with the on the spectrum, and every month we have a closed 6-week support group starting,
Oh wow.
and they're completely free.
Amazing.
We are launching a support network for people who are parents in the industry, just so that they have other people, other parents to talk to, because
Yeah.
it can be very challenging and a lot of stigma attached to that, which
Yes.
can be very difficult. Um, we have in January we have an in-person wellness retreat, so we'll do yoga and
Ooh.
breath work and all that really lovely, relaxing stuff that we know is completely necessary after the AVN and
Oh,
XPS shows because everyone is
definitely.
burnt out. Uh, and yeah, and then we've got workshops every month online where we try and offer different holistic therapy treatments. So although we don't offer them regularly to our clients, we want people to understand they're available. So like breath works, like yoga, dance therapy. I'm trying to get someone to do laughing yoga because I just think that'd be hilarious. Uh, so we're trying to get people to be able to experience all the different types of holistic therapies as well. And then at the shows, for example, XBiz and AVN, we had the retreat space, which we had afternoon tea and therapists available all through the day. It was just a really calming area for people to be in. We had free headshots. The amazing Casey Jade came in, and anyone that came by could come and get some shots of their portfolio.
Amazing.
And this XBiz, your first XBiz,
My
yay!
first one. I'm excited.
We're doing a little mini retreat or getaway area, which is going to be sponsored by Strip Chat. Um, so that's going to be one of the suites next to the pool, fully air conditioned. Come in, have some tea, rest your voice, eat
Yes.
some sandwiches, chill out.
Yes. All the things that
So
are so necessary during those adult industry events, because like wow, AVN was so overwhelming and so overstimulating. I'm just like, oh my gosh, like can I just maybe get a moment of silence? Like
I kept going into the rooms where all of the booths were. I'm like, no, no, back to the pineapple room. This is too much.
Pineapple Room was like an oasis, like amongst the craziness. But I mean, I love what you're offering here too, because like yes, those events can be quite crazy. Um, and sometimes people forget to nourish themselves in terms of like forgetting to eat is one thing because it's just craziness. Forgetting to hydrate amongst all these drinking infested events, which is fun, but sometimes can be a lot for folks. So that's really great too. But also like just to provide some quietness, some peace and solace
Yeah,
amongst the chaoticness is really great. So really, really looking forward to that and and just yeah, connecting, which is gonna be awesome. Um, I know earlier you mentioned shout out to any companies who need your funding, but I want to also kind of maybe end on you know how can folks support pineapple support because this is obviously a very very important service that we need to provide for sex workers. So I want to see are there ways for folks within the industry or even for some like vanilla people and civilian people to support this organization and how can we do so?
so I mean the first most basic way is go to the website and click that button that says donate. That is awesome.
Yep.
Uh, we have pineapple merch available on the website as well, which is, in my opinion, very cool.
Yeah.
Um, so that's a nice way to show support. We the 24/7 listening service that I mentioned at the beginning,
Mhm.
that's all manned by volunteer listeners. So
Oh,
if
wow.
that's something that you feel that you can do, because it is a big thing, then you can go on the website, click, what is it? I just have everything up in front of me. Get involved, and then go down to volunteer. And then that will take you to a website where you can take a course in active listening, which takes about half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and once you've done that, then as and when you have free time, you can go online, mark yourself as available, and people who just need to talk can reach out and have that conversation. And it's all done via text,
Oh,
which
amazing.
is great because it doesn't. I feel like a voice call is a little bit more for crisis, and this is definitely not for crisis.
Right.
It also gives you a chance to think about what you're writing. I think it's very cathartic for the person that's reaching out. Having your thoughts put into words there. So that's a really great way to get involved. Obviously, sharing our posts and sharing our services to anyone that you think might need that support. And the other really great way for people within the industry to get involved is by joining a membership scheme, which is called Pineapples United. So this is
Okay.
it's a monthly subscription or monthly donation, and it starts at $10 a month. There's 10, 25, 50, and 100, depending on what you're able to give or what you'd like to give. And with that, we invite you firstly to join myself and different board members for regular meetings throughout the year, where you can say to us, we think you should be doing this, or we love that you're doing that, and just to hear what we do have in the pipeline. And the only way that we can really provide the industry with the correct support is if the industry tells us what support they need.
Right.
So
Right.
this is a great way for people to not just help by giving money, because
Right.
that's great, but we really want to hear your voice. We want to know your opinion. We want to have you involved in Pineapple. Uh, and also we've begun offering membership benefits. So I try to think, and we're still adding different companies, but it's what do people in the adult industry need to run their businesses?
Oh,
And we are partnering with different companies to offer discounts on those services for anyone who supports us. So we have the White Unicorn, who are offering 15% off adult novelties, games, and sexual wellness products.
wow.
Clear, offering $10 discount to all performers when they get tested within the lab.
Amazing.
Mojo Host are offering 3 months free hosting,
Oh,
and 25% off retail costs moving forward. Seven Veils are offering 10% off social media management and social media strategy. Corey Silverstone,
yes.
adultlaw.com,
Of course.
is offering 10% off subscription services to legal resources.
Amazing.
Sliquid, we've got 10% off lubricants and intimate products. And Casey Jade is offering 15% off branding and boudoir photography. So that's just to begin with. We're looking for accountants to join. We're looking for everything that anyone could possibly need. So
Wow.
by supporting the community, you're also getting a lot back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's a really great way to give back to us in the community in terms of like, okay, like we need all these things. These are all things that are necessary for us to run as a business. So that's really cool that you're able to do that, and just sounds like you're just continually innovating, which is really
Trying.
we're trying to navigate, just trying to survive. What else is on the horizon for Pineapple Sport? Was there anything that we missed? Can you
Um,
share anything? There's so much sun.
we are we're starting to work more with our sponsors as well. So for the companies that work with us, we are offering corporate trainings now.
Awesome.
So this is, you know, for, to provide to ensure that content creators feel truly supported, they have to feel truly supported by the platforms that they are working with.
Yes.
And this includes when they call customer service, or when they're with the account manager or cam trainer, that cam trainer knows how to deal with a crisis situation, that they're trained in active listening, that they understand gender, pronouns, sexual orientations, that I'm trying to think of all the other
There's so many.
training courses we have. We've got about 15 training courses that
Wow.
we provide. So it's really to empower the people on the other side of the camera as well, which in turn provides more and more support to those in front of the camera. Um, so yeah, that's one of the additional things that we started to provide last year that we're really building upon this year.
Amazing. Yeah, because like a lot of the times that like we hear complaints like from people that are on like certain platforms, like, well, they're not getting a support that they need. So it's really great that you're starting to address that and provide that support, because that's great, because then like you can really provide it from within and support it right from the get-go. But this has been such a great conversation, Leya. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. But before we let you go, where can we find you?
You can find Pineapple Support at pineapplesupport.org, and you can find us on Twitter and Instagram, Pineapple YSW, which stands for Your Safe Word, which is where pineapple came from.
Right. Yeah, I
Um,
heard about that. Interesting.
and you can find me on Instagram and on Twitter at Leya Tanit, LeyaTanit. I'm very rarely on Twitter. I find it a really scary space.
It can be a lot. I don't blame you. And for everyone else listening at home, it is Stripped by Sia on all podcast platforms. If you're on Apple, feel free to rate 5 stars and write a nice little review. That really helps with the visibility of the show. Along with Spotify, you can go ahead and hit subscribe and rate that 5 stars if you're really digging the content. It's all free and accessible. Almost over 200 episodes and up of some really great resources. Again, another way you can support is by joining Patreon. So it's patreon.com/strippedbysia. And if you want to reach out to me directly, it is Stripped by Sia on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm on all the things there. So you just at me and I'll respond to you. But that being said, it's new episodes every single Sunday. And there will be another fantastic episode again next week. But for now, it's bye for now. And thank you so much, Leya, for joining me today and sharing the lovely, amazing things that you do with the community. Cannot thank you enough.
Thank you so much.
You're listening to Stripped by Sia, hosted, produced, and edited by Steph Sia. Music by Ted D. Graphic design by Maria Bellandarama, and photography by Ian Dabber.